Hello, and welcome to another news-filled, results-chocked episode of Bodied, the Cloud9 Fancast. As always, my partner in crime, frozencreek. How are you?
Hello, I am back. Last week was stressful and very busy for me, so I was not able to make it. I know my thoughts were in here just a little bit thrown in, so I guess that counts as me being here for a little bit at least.
Yes, you were here.
How's
You
it?
were here in spirit.
Or yeah, how's it going with you?
Good. That's all I can say. I'm really tired from
Yeah.
work.
No,
Sorry.
yeah, same.
But C9 had some eventful stuff happen. So let's jump right into it. I'm just gonna rattle off some quick little things, Frozen. Feel free to add comments if you want, but it's just a couple tiny things. Kolento currently is 7-4 in the Hearthstone StarLaddar Ultimate Series, which is good. Positive win rate, really good. Hopefully he can move on to. I'm not sure how many rounds this thing goes, but hopefully he can win or go to like the bracket stage. I don't know. PUBG finished the NPL season strong with a second place finish. They'd been basically like held in like top three. They were kind of jockeying between like second and third for a little bit, but they held out and they were able to get second place overall, which is great considering they were facing some pretty tough teams there, as well as, you know, it's sort of the first NPL season. So second place finish, I think is really great.
Oh yeah, for sure. They were third for a couple weeks, but it sounds like that they burst through the last week or two and won quite a few games. And I'm not sure. I don't have the rankings up in front of me, but if they would have kept going with that success, they might have been able to end up in first place just based on how hot they were the last couple of weeks. So if it was a little bit longer, maybe, but obviously you can't start as not as you can't start as slow as they did, even though they were third like the whole time. But I'm blanking on the team that won, but they were on fire every week. So
Yeah, I mean,
tough.
I'm not. I don't really like, as long as we get top three, that's fine. You know, especially for stuff like battle royales where it's really hard actually to get first place just because there's so much competition within like the tournament, like the event and like the matches. So I think getting top three and staying consistently in top three in a battle royale type league is very good, and that's very like noteworthy. So I think that I'm really happy that they were able to hold on to second and finish second. So, you know, silver medal for me is fine.
Yeah, I'll take it.
I guess our first big news story: CSGO fell in their final match of the Legends stage at IEM Katowice. They had to go up against FAZE, and it was a really, really rough match. I'm not sure if you watched it, Frozen, but essentially C9 started off slow on both maps. They played Inferno, then they played Cash, but they had just like these really slow starts. And they only really came alive where like the match was already like halfway over, more than halfway over, and they were already at like a huge deficit. So coming back was kind of impossible, as well as even if they did come back, they'd have to pretty much play perfectly. So it was kind of a frustrating match to see C9, who had looked really good throughout the tournament for the most part, to like hit this really big brick wall and just not be able to play like how they needed to play. And then ultimately lose out to FaZe and not get on to the, I guess they're calling it like the champions stage for like the top 8.
Yeah. I was actually pretty impressed with how they actually performed throughout the tournament. Like they were a team that didn't have like an official coach because their coach, quote unquote, was actually playing in the games.
yeah. To get around that, they made Zelsis a coach, so that's how they could advance and I think also maybe have like the 3 European players on their roster.
Yeah, it was weird, but like it it worked out for the most part. Like obviously, you could tell that they weren't the best team there after they got a 0-16, but like I think we can be happy with the performance that they showed. Just based on the fact that this is a relatively a new roster that is still seeing changes thrown in and out with the illnesses and all this other stuff. Like overall, they performed well, and I think if they can figure out a solid a roster and can actually have a coach with them observing the game and not just playing it, like they do have some potential to do well, like not maybe win a major specifically, but like get back up there to where they need and want to be and start making some more champion stages.
No, yeah, I agree. I think that this roster is definitely good. I think Flusha and Automatic and Keo, I think, are the stars of the team. They put in some serious work throughout this tournament. And were also some of the reasons why they even maybe had a chance of bouncing back against FaZe Clan. Rush is fairly inconsistent. Sometimes he's really good, and other times he's kind of hurting the team. And I'm not sure about Zelsis just because he hasn't really been playing with the team long. He's only been to a couple of events with them. But I think that, either there's some debate, at least within the what I've seen from like the Discord, talking about how like what C9 is going to do post-major, if they're going to just drop Golden altogether, if they are going to drop Zelsis and get someone better, what they're going to do. It's still kind of a mystery. I wouldn't mind keeping this roster and seeing how they work for a little bit longer, because they do have the potential to actually get really good results, and it's just a matter of making sure they're consistent. So I think that for what they've done so far, it's really admirable, and I think that they do have like a higher skill scaling that they can reach as long as they maintain more consistent.
Oh yeah, I feel like the ceiling for this team is higher than what they showed this tournament. Whether they keep Celsius or not, I thought that they did look good. So I mean, I'll take it. We threw together a roster. We didn't have a coach, and we still came out to perform. And I mean, it sucks that we went out when we did, but obviously FaZe is a good team. And they'll do just fine in the champion stage, I would have to imagine. So on to the next one, and hopefully we can see this team come up with a core, and then I'll push on in the future events and into future majors.
Yeah, for sure. Next up, we have Overwatch news. We have a bunch of stuff. First and foremost, London Spitfire actually went 2-0. They had a really rocky game against Washington Justice and a much better game against the Hangzhou Spark. But they're not out of the woods yet, because Stage 1 is only, I think, like, they're only on week 3 right now. And so that means that there's still like 6 matches where they basically have to play Goats comp. And that's a bit worrying, because they're still kind of struggling a bit with that.
Yeah, it's not ideal, obviously. They haven't looked good on it, I would say. But the good news is that they're just a game out of playoffs for the stage at this point, which is at least, I think, the goal that we should be setting, even if we start kind of weak. And I think there was a definite improvement from week 1 to week 2. So hopefully we can see some improvements this week, since I think we only play 1 match. So hopefully they can put all of their prep and work into just their game against the Gladiators.
Yeah, for sure. I think the one good thing is I like how the coaches like quickly saw that, like, okay, we need to bench Birdring for this stage, because really he's struggling to perform on the Zarya. They switched Prophet over to the Zarya, put Guard in like basically full time, and just allowed Guard to play Brigitte, and they look just a lot better. The only issue I have still is like some of their coordination is a bit off, especially when Jester isn't on Winston. When he's on Reinhardt, his play just is not as high and is not as like high octane. You know, like when he's on Winston, he can do some amazing stuff. But when you take him off of Winston, he really struggles, I think, to be as impactful because Ryan is a very different speed of champion than Winston is. So,
oh yeah.
So Jester definitely, I think, kind of struggles with that. But it's good to see that the team is slowly improving. I think their game against Hangzhou did look a lot better than they did versus the Washington Justice. So hoping for some improvement, as well as I'm really looking forward to the next stage because I believe the game will be updated by then and they'll have Baptiste, who is a healer, and he is pretty much designed, and I think with the patch changes, it's pretty much designed to like basically either get rid of goats or depower it to where it's really not that like optimal of a team comp anymore. And then we can actually have some fucking Overwatch.
Yeah, and not just like a tank battle, like season 5, I think, of League of Legends. Because
yeah, basically,
there is a place for it to shine at some points in time, but at some point it just get kind of boring and take away from like the quality of the game overall.
Yeah, from just like the viewership perspective, it's really boring. I understand that like internally actually playing it, you need a lot of coordination and communication with like ult timings and abilities and all this other stuff. To just watch it physically, not playing it, I absolutely hate it because you just see these two teams mindlessly swinging at each other, waiting for their ult charges to build. And I'm just like, by God, I'm tired of seeing this one composition over and over and over again.
Yeah. But to add on to the Overwatch news, I think we should give a shout out to our Overwatch League friends, the Shanghai Dragons, who finally pulled out a win after going 0-42.
The longest running professional sports losing streak, I believe.
I believe so, and I am a Lions fan, so I've been there. Not quite that bad, but I've been there, and it does not feel good. So, shout out to the Dragons, who they beat Boston, right?
Correct. They beat Boston, which was actually somewhat surprising.
Yeah, and they like almost 4-0 them too.
Yeah.
Not like almost, but like they very well could have.
Yeah,
which is incredible for them. So shout out to them for doing it.
Yeah, for sure. I hope that they can actually win some more games because I want to see Guguri just succeed, just because I love her. But
oh yeah, same.
Let's move on a little bit. We can't talk about Overwatch all day. I do want to also announce that the British Hurricanes have announced their new roster for the upcoming Contenders season. They've only added 2 new people, so the roster hasn't changed that much. They still have Numlocked, HappyCool, Daned, Yoffie, or Joffy. I'm not sure if it's a soft J, and Bucket, which is great. All fairly good performing people. But they have also added Suna as a hit scan and Sparker as a hit scan. If you don't recognize those names, or at least for Sparker is straight off the ladder. Pretty much what happened was I think HappyCool was playing against Sparker, and Sparker was on Widowmaker, and he was destroying everybody. And he basically went up to the team manager and said, "Yo, sign this dude because he's really good." So they got him, and from what was it, Young and Beautiful, Suna is coming over. So hopefully a nice, more well-rounded team. Hopefully we have some really good people joining and we can get another EU Contenders seasonal championship.
Yes. I feel like you covered it more than I ever could, so thank you for
I was legit reading from the announcement off the Cloud9 website.
Oh shit, okay. Nobody needs to know that though.
Yeah, but yeah. So welcome. Hope we do good. On to League of Legends. Just a quick Academy update. Academy has secured themselves first place, I believe, after their 2-0 week against TSM Academy and Golden Guardians Academy. So that's really great. I'm glad to see that our Academy division, even though they've had a few losses and some unfortunate ones, Kumo is smashing. The rest of the team is doing well. I think Diamond is also now in NA and is at the house. So he's no longer playing from Canada, and he can play with them as a team and actually practice as a team and whatnot. So I'm really stoked for that. Moving on. I'm sorry.
I was just trying to look at the schedule. I'm not sure that they've clinched first place yet. Oh,
I thought they did.
They have first place, or they have sole possession of first place.
Yes.
Okay, I heard it as they clinched first place for the split, and I was like,
oh no.
So I looked it up. No, they have sole possession of first place.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess that goes. Did you mention the roster announcement or?
I was going to get to that next, actually. Frozen.
Okay, do that.
Thank you for saying something. So, like yesterday, Cloud9 has announced that they have acquired Jukes. He is a Brazilian top laner. He was in the I think the Brazilian challenger scene for a little while, but then he kind of dropped out to just be a streamer. He actually gets a lot of numbers. I think he gets about 20,000 or something anytime he streams. Not as much as Nisqy, but still fairly good numbers. I think if you go to the League of Legends page in Twitch, he's usually fairly up there in terms of viewership. So it's unclear if this is a move to sign a skilled top laner because, say, Kumo was bought out and is going to another team, and C9 is already positioning him to be the next guy, or if it is more that it's kind of a situation. I think Team Liquid or TSM has a similar player that if they need to play, they can, but they're mostly just there for a purely streamer role. Either way, I think it's great for Cloud9. Either you have someone who brings in a lot of Twitch viewership, and if you're having a mini Nisqy grabbing people every night when you stream, that's great. Or if you're having someone that is really talented and can still give you that edge that you need in the academy scene or whatever, that's great too. So I think that this announcement is a win-win, at least from how I view it.
Yeah, it seems kind of ambiguous to what he's going to be doing. Obviously he's an insanely popular streamer in Brazil, but they announced him as being a top laner for the League of Legends roster, and they say that he's going to be in the quote pool of talented League of Legends players housed at Cloud9. So it sounds like he's gonna be on the roster. I don't think
I think it's
academy either.
It was worded very vaguely, and I think that was their intention.
Yeah, so maybe Kumo has something set up for the summer split. Obviously there's teams who do need top laners. CLG
needs one real bad.
Optic maybe. So I would love Kumo to stay on, but obviously it's going to be tough to take Licorice out of that top lane position. So
no, yeah, if you're Cloud9, you hold on to Licorice for dear life, and you basically let Kumo just decide where he wants to go, because with the skill that he's displayed alone in the Academy League, I think any team like CLG, for example, which we'll get to in a bit, if you need a top laner, you try to buy him because he will increase your team's worth by a lot.
or yeah, he's been a really good. So I think it would be cool just to see Jukes play in an academy game or two. It just sucks that he
Yeah,
plays the same position as Kumo in Licorice.
he does also play
Oh,
mid.
ooh,
He's like
oh
a
yeah,
top mid player,
dead.
but
Yeah,
like he's primarily top.
yeah, interesting. That would be an interesting in, import if somebody was also looking to take out golden glue.
Yeah, for sure. And I've been saying for a little while that teams need to look farther out than just Korea for imported talent. Like there's a lot of like we see at MSI and we see at All Stars and we see at Worlds. There's a lot of talent from Brazil or Turkey or some of the other smaller regions that I think get overlooked because like, well, you're not Korean and you're a smaller region. When it's like, no, they could do just as well. It's just that their region is smaller and maybe not as competitive or something.
Oh
So
yeah, and obviously there's like top talents in each country too. So I don't think anybody has a Brazilian player off the top of my head. I can't think of any. So
I think the only one that I can think of who's a Brazilian player is BRTT, and he's like a super big ADC.
yeah, okay, yeah. So I mean, if he has the passion and the obviously he has the mechanics to play. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see what they do with him because Cloud9 was vague about it. So
Yeah, for sure. Well, let's move on to C9's weak results for the LCS. They 2-0'd. They played FlyQuest and CLG. FlyQuest was kind of a rough match, but I think with their comp, they tried to fight. For FlyQuest, it was basically their comp needed to scale, but they kept trying to take. They took a few early fights that just made it like really hard for them to deal with, and it kind of put them in a weird spot. But they weren't really super behind. And then with CLG, they're dead in the water. It looks like with just the talent that they have on the roster and how they're playing, they just crushed them. And it wasn't. It's not even really worth mentioning a lot.
I know. I do have one thing to add about the CLG game. I guess we'll do that first since it's quicker. There has been a decent amount of talk from like pundits, I guess is the word for it. I'm not sure if it was Thorin or LS or something was talking shit about NA, saying that the region sucks because like teams aren't playing early game comps. And I think Cloud9 is one of the few teams that is able to take control of a game early and finish out the game that way. They haven't exactly shown that they can take control of every game. Obviously, the FlyQuest game is one of those where they kind of had to fight back the whole game. But once they got control in that CLG game, like it was over with. Their vision control was awesome. They even probably finished slower than what they should have technically, but I think that was what they were talking about when they were talking about NA plays too slow and like they'll get a shit on at MSI or whatever. They showed that they had the skills to just demolish teams and choke them out of a game. So I was impressed with that in a particular.
Yeah, the one thing that kind of saddens me about CLG is it seems that ever since that run at MSI, they haven't really done much to really improve their team, like through talent and whatnot. Like their biggest acquisition was Power of Evil. They still have Darshan. They had to get Wiggly because Rainover was a dud. You know, Rainover turned out to be like a dud in North America outside of like a few splits after he came here. You know, they had Huhi, and Huhi was alright, but then he left for 100 Thieves because they needed to get Power of Evil. Stixay is kind of a similar thing to where he's just not performing like he used to. And then you have Biofrost, who I was never high on Biofrost to begin with. I think the only reason people liked Biofrost a lot was when he was on TSM, and that's basically because he was support to Doublelift, and basically Doublelift makes any support look good.
Oh yeah, that's kind of fair, but I do think he is a little bit better than he gets credited for, but I don't love their team as much as I thought I did at the beginning of the year. Um, Obviously
It just seems like,
are lacking.
yeah, it just seems like it's kind of uh, uninteresting and like kind of like there's nothing that really stands out there. It's all just kind of like a bland roster of like, well, that could maybe work, but nothing really stands out to make them go like, okay, this is like a roster. You know, maybe Power of Evil, but other than him, no one really stands out.
Yeah, I'm a huge Power of Evil fan, so I'm biased, but overall, they they're like the definition of plain yogurt at this point.
Yeah.
So I guess we should do the FlyQuest game next. It was a wild ride, I think, is a fair way to put it. But we did get control of the game, and after a wild turtle kind of gave us a way into the match. I was pretty happy with how we closed it out.
Yeah. They were actually doing well until Wild Turtle decided to just kind of kill himself. I will say that I think if C9 didn't take those early fights, they probably would have been in a better spot, but they played really well, and I think that Nisqy actually showed up a lot, because I think without him on Silas, the team probably would have gotten into a lot of trouble. A lot of those Baron calls that were really spooky. Like they were like taking like 3 people out of the pit to fight for like no reason, or or just like
Yeah, it
like
was weird.
it was just bad.
I'd have to go back and watch them again. I haven't had a ton of time. I actually didn't see the CLG game live because that's when MSU played U of M in basketball. So I didn't see a lick of that match. So I finally watched it this morning. So I haven't had time to watch both matches yet again.
Okay.
But I was impressed that we were able to come back and pull it out over them, because obviously they are a strong team and they probably should have finished that out against us, considering we gave them quite a few legs up for free. But overall, we took sole possession of second place, and we actually control our destiny for winning the regular season split.
Yeah, we have sort of a difficult schedule, I think, just because we still have to play Team Liquid again. Next week, we have to play TSM. And I think really that's the only real tough opponent. We have to play FlyQuest again. But I think other than that, our schedule is fairly easy. I guess we can transition over into next week. I'm not sure how you feel about next week. I think we could at least go 1-1. TSM's looking really good lately, and it looks like they're starting to really get into their groove. Sven's popped off on a few games, and Smoothie against CLG, he was just crushing it. Less so against their in their second game, but yeah, I think that TSM is going to be really difficult, and I think that if we let Bjergsen or probably Broken Blade get like a really good lane matchup, it'll be really difficult for us to take the game over. But I think if we have a good draft, we can beat TSM. Against Golden Guardians, I think we just have the superior players. So, especially with Sneaky and Zazel playing really, really well this split, we should be able to just win outright.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think we should just overpower Golden Guardians, and I have a feeling that a Reaper is going to try something cheeky. So I guess we'll just have to see what happens there, because a Reaper's been known to pull stuff out at inopportune times and give teams a fighting chance that they probably shouldn't have, which it's regular season, like it counts, but like it's not what everybody is trying to win. And if we lose to TSM, that CLG match, the first one is gonna come back to haunt us pretty majorly just because of the fact that we won't control our own destiny at that point unless Team Liquid drops another game just out of nowhere somewhere, which I can't really expect them or foresee them doing. So
I think we can beat Team Liquid as long as we don't have the super troll draft that we had in the first game of the season, where we gave Svenskar and Nunu into a comp that was pretty much not what Nunu wants to go against.
yeah, it was not ideal. I still think that we had chances to win that game and we just didn't work together very well. Which is fine. And Nisqy was back in NA for the first time. He probably had nerves and such. So I'm more worried about the TSM game this weekend because we need to win this to control our destiny. And even though they're hot, I still feel like that we are the superior team. Team Liquid probably should have won their match against TSM just based off of memory, but they look good now. We look good now, and as always, it's a battle of titans in North America. So, I mean,
Yeah.
I think it kind of says it all that Team Liquid is spending all this money just to end up in a position with Cloud9 and TSM. So, TSM and Cloud9 holds like the historical edge of the most important teams and the most successful teams in North America. So, this is what it's all about. Like, this is my favorite matchup to watch every year, even if one of them doesn't end up winning the split.
Yeah, same here. I think it's something about the rivalry that makes it just really entertaining and really exciting. So hopefully the match will at least be good and not like super one-sided. But I kind of also want it to be one-sided just so just so we win easily.
Or yeah, one-sided in our direction, obviously.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I guess we'll just have to see. I believe the new patch comes in this week.
I think so. I haven't been paying attention much to patches.
Yeah, we are gonna see Urgot nerfs. I believe the new Conqueror is coming out, which actually I haven't tried on my own yet. I've been playing everything that can't use Conqueror that well, so I'm actually not sure how that is going to impact play.
Yeah.
But it feels like a buff for characters like maybe Rise or Cassiopeia. Obviously that's something that we don't want buffed for our match with Team Liquid. But Silas is still in a good spot. Rek'Sai is pretty OP now, so I guess at this point that we're just going to have to see, because
yeah, we'll have to see. Hopefully,
this patch.
Yeah,
but I think that's it.
Yeah, I can't think of anything else.
So our games this weekend are TSM sorry, Saturday is Golden Guardians versus Cloud9 at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 4 p.m. Pacific, and Sunday is 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 2 p.m. Pacific Time, and that is against TSM. So until next week.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, until next week. Peace out.
Later.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.